And welcome back, Nats fans, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler as the Washington Nationals take the first game of this 3-game series and on this 9-game road trip by a final score of 4-2. Max Scherzer, well, he looked back on track. Had a couple of rough moments in the middle innings, but everything looked good tonight. Stuff was strong. Fastball got to 96 and looked like the old Max Scherzer again, which is a good sign with only maybe 1 or 2 more starts till the postseason. You got Ryan Zimmerman with 100 RBIs, Anthony Rendon a couple of big hits, Trey Turner breaking the stolen base record, Max Scherzer breaking his, having another Major League Baseball milestone. We'll talk about that. We got a lot to get to on the postgame tonight. We got Daniel Murphy being scratched from this game with a left hamstring tightness. I'm sure Dusty will say something while we're on here. Bryce Harper, of course, took part in a simulated game today in Atlanta. We'll talk more about that. So a lot to get into surrounding the Nationals. We're now just 12 games left in the regular season. So if you want to get involved tonight in the chat room, feel free here on the YouTube page. Send us a question. Send us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. You could also tweet me on Twitter at District on Deck or tweet my own account on Twitter at Rickinator555. So before we dial into the specifics, let's take a look at the totals. Nationals get 4 runs on 11 hits, no errors. The Braves 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. Originally, they had an error in the 5th inning. Was ruled on Rio Ruiz. It got changed to an RBI for Ryan Zimmerman, so that's why the Braves have no errors. Nats go to 91 and 59. Atlanta drops to 67 and 82. Max Scherzer gets the win. He goes to 15 and 6. 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, struck out 7, walked 1, 112 pitches, 83 strikes. And Luis Gohara took the loss for Atlanta, 6 1/3, 4 runs, 11 hits, struck out 4, didn't walk anybody on 93 pitches, 71 strikes. Gohara pitched well. I mean, you look at the 11 hits, the Nats really just didn't do anything with men scoring most of the night. But give that kid credit. I mean, he's gone out there in 2 starts against the Nats, and he's shown some good stuff. You can see why the Braves are really high on him. Sean Doolittle gets the save, his 22nd. He's still perfect in a Nats uniform. Threw a perfect inning, struck out 1 on 12 pitches, 9 strikes. Ryan Madsen did walk Jace Peterson, but struck out Freddie Freeman in a scoreless 8th. 18 pitches, 11 strikes, and a great stat by Madsen during the game. The Nationals are now 23-0 when 2 of the law firm, meaning Brandon Kinsler, Sean Doolittle, and Ryan Madsen, appear in a game. That's remarkable. I mean, we all thought the bullpen was going to be better with those 3 guys. I don't think anybody thought they'd be practically unbeatable with those 3 or 2 of those 3. And I think FP made a good point. Ever since they went back to the big 3 again, remember they had the game where Kinsler was used to close in Houston and kind of backfired. I think Dusty's kind of learned, don't switch up these roles. These guys are pitching well as it is. But you'll see over the last 12, I think guys will get days off. You'll start to see more of the guys that are trying to earn spots. And that's really what you're looking at here. The 2 seed's pretty much wrapped up, although the Cubs are not really helping that, but it's really a long shot you lose the 2 seed at all. So this is about trying to get guys some confidence, get some games in, and that'll maybe come in the final week. The Nats still trying to win games, and you give them credit for trying to do that. Let's take a look here at the chat room. A lot of things in the chat room. We got, despite the dumb base running decision, I think you have to give the player of the game to Trey Turner. That's from Judo. I think there's a lot of candidates you can give it to tonight. Turner did go 2 for 4, stole a couple of bases. He's now at 42 stolen bases, which is a Nats single-season record. To do it in 88 games is incredible. If he was healthy all year, he would get to 60 pretty easily. I think I'm going to give Judo, and I think Scherzer gives credit. I'm going to give it to Ryan Zimmerman. 3 for 5, couple RBIs. He picked up a big double in the 2nd. Nats, by the way, had 6 doubles in this game, all against Luis Gohara. You rarely see a team get 6 doubles in a game. But Zimmerman picked up the big RBI in the 2nd RBI in the 3rd inning after the Trey Turner base hit. Then had the RBI single in the 5th. So when you get 2 of the 4 RBIs, I got to give it to Zimmerman. Trey Turner's pretty close, but Zim looks locked in. And I thought that home run he hit in the 6th inning Sunday night is a big one for him, and he thought so too. Hitting it in a clutch situation, that's going to help him in October. And I think he's starting to get his rhythm again at the plate. But I don't disagree, Judo. If you want to give it to Turner, I'm okay with that. Doolittle 19 for 19 saves, according to Seth. And yeah, Seth, you did predict the Bull. I don't know, Seth, if you would have predicted 23-0 for those guys, but we'll give you credit. What's up, Jay? Too, by the way. And Seth says Zimmerman comeback player of the year. For me, he's the favorite. I mean, you could look at even Gio Gonzalez. I'm sure there's a couple of guys in baseball that can get that award. But what Zimmerman's done this year, in the middle of the lineup tonight, getting to hit cleanup because Daniel Murphy was scratched. He's done an excellent job providing protection for Harper, protection for Murphy. I like him hitting behind Rendon. I think that gives him more pitches to hit, and that can only be a benefit to him down the stretch. He's only like 5 RBIs away from tying his single season high. I think he could get there, depending on how much playing time he gets over the last 11. But he looks locked in. I think that's the most important thing. You look at the middle of the order tonight, Rendon, Zimmerman, and Kendrick combined to go 6 for 13 with 3 RBIs. So it's pretty solid. Everybody had a hit in the lineup except for Wilmer Difo. He went 0 for 4. You're starting that. I think Difo, to me, is starting to get in a slump because of the non-regular at-bats, and maybe you get a chance to see some Adrian Sanchez, depending on how long Daniel Murphy might be out for. But Defoe's really been slumping. Jason Worth, 1 for 5 with a double. He had that double, I think, was huge for him in the 5th inning. I eventually think he's going to find it, and I'll have an article on that tomorrow, why I think that. Rendon and RBI, his 95th of the season, picked up another double, though he took a pitch off the ankle, and it was kind of slow getting to second base. He hustled and got in there, but with Harper out, Murphy banged up, and you don't want to see Rendon out of the lineup. But I liked how the Nats they kept getting situations. They just got to have better situational hitting. But it started off nice in the 3rd inning. Matt Wieters doubled down the left field line. Scherzer got the bunt down. Trey Turner picks up a base hit to get him on the board. And then after a Rendon 2-out single, Zimmerman delivers with a base hit to left. He made it 2-0. Braves did get one back in the 4th. A lot of 2-out hits. Scherzer got the first 11 batters in a row. And then Freddie Freeman had the bloop single between Worth and Difo. Nick Markakis singled. Then Kurt Suzuki only hits the Nats. You look at his numbers. He's bad at I won't say bad, but average against every other team. He's really good against the Nats. He picked up an RBI single to make it 2-1. Nats did get that run back in the 5th. Zimmerman had the base hit after the Jason Worth double. And then the big insurance run. Actually, I think the Braves, they got the double by Swanson, make it 3-2. And then in the 6th inning, the Nats get the 7th inning, the RBI double by Rendon to make it 4-2, and that's ended up being the final score. How would I sum up the night for Max Scherzer? Well, you can look at the title here on the page. I think he's back. Early on, fastball was good, 93, 94, was mixing in the off-speed, had some nasty sliders, especially to Ozzie Albies in the 1st inning. But I liked how he got out of the situations. You look at the 4th and 5th inning, as I mentioned earlier. 4th inning, he gives up those 3 bloop hits or 3 singles and gets Ruiz to strike out, so he keeps the damage at 1 run. Braves, by the way, got to give him credit. They work a lot of tough at-bats against Scherzer. I mean, that's why I think he struggles against them more than the other 3 teams in the division. Markakis grinds out at-bats. Freeman grinds out at-bats. There's another hitter, I forget the guy. I think it was Ruiz who had a couple long at-bats as well. Then in the 5th, they get the sack bunt by Gohar. You got a man on 3rd with 1 out. Now, the Nats kind of catch a break that Ender Inciarte left that game with the thumb injury. So Jace Peterson's up. He strikes out. And then Ozzie Albies flies out to center. So Scherzer did a good job minimizing the damage. If he had enough damage, he only walked 1, which that 1 run ended up costing them with that Swanson double. But besides that, he looked really good. I think you have to feel confident he'll get 1 more start, maybe 2. I would think more likely just 1. If the second one might be more abbreviated. But definitely to get the 1-2-3 inning in the 7th was huge after the collapse in the 7th he had against Atlanta last time out. I think that was big for him. And he's definitely, I think, in the running for Cy Young. He gets 250 strikeouts for the 4th year in a row that ties Pedro Martinez for that mark. Randy Johnson has the all-time record with 6 straight years. But for Scherzer to have 250 Ks for 4 straight seasons is absolutely remarkable. Let's see what we got here. Tim says, what's up, Tim? Zim needs 9 to tie. I think he had 110 in 09. I will look at that, Tim, but thank you and welcome to our chat. Happy to have you. Let's see what we got here. Judo says, incredible. The Nats have gone from worst bullpen to statistically the best. Absolutely. Jay says, good to see Wieters get a hit. Definitely. I mean, that's a guy who really needs confidence. And really the one concern with Wieters, he's given up a lot of stolen bases. And FP mentioned it during the telecast. If the Nats are going to play the Cubs in the first round, you know that Joe Mann's going to send Baez. He's going to send the guys at the top of the order, Zobrist or some of these guys, just to sort of mess with the Nats. And whether that's throwing over to first base, whether that's doing different things to throw off the running game. The Cubs are aggressive on the bases just as much as the Nats are. So I could see both managers playing little chess games on the bases, and those situations where if you get that extra base and you steal a run, that can decide postseason games. So that's one of the things the Nats will have to correct over the last 11, because Matt Wieters is going to be the starting catcher in October. They're going to have to find a way to fix the defensive issues, at least throwing out base runners. But for Wieters to get a hit tonight and to start that rally in the third was big for his confidence. And I think even seeing 11 pitches Sunday night, despite the strikeout, helps as well. Let's see what else we got here. Judo says, when asked about Scherzer's 20 strikeout game, Roger Clemens said his favorite about the 20 games that none of the pitchers walked the batter in these starts. Yeah, definitely. And Scherzer's always said that he prefers a 20 strikeout game to the no-hitter. But I believe he said that it'll be tonight. It could maybe I have it the other way around. But when he's on a strikeout game, it's really fun to watch. He had 7 tonight. Had a good role early in the game, but he got the timely strikeouts tonight. I think that's the most important. Do we start any Jay says, do we start anybody other than Wieters? I don't see it. I don't think that they're going to go into barring an injury. I think Matt Wieters is your starter. He still has a good impact on Gio Gonzalez, which has been a help. He's not terrible in terms of calling a game, but the defense in terms of throwing out runners. But Wieters also does a good job fielding the ball at the plate. So maybe while he can't throw out runners as well as, let's say, a Wilson Contreras can, if he can make good plays behind the plate and tag runners out, that's just as productive. So I'm not really worried about Wieters. Again, the Nats are going to get production from other hitters offensively. Wieters doesn't have to carry the lineup. And if you're throwing Severino in there, he hasn't really done much with the limited playing time that he's had. He's had a bad year offensively at AAA. I don't really know what you're getting with Pedro Severino either. It just becomes the point where the Nats are just going to have to accept they're not going to get much from their catcher position this year. Gio says, I could not believe Kershaw never getting up a grand slam before last night. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, when you have Aaron Altair hit a grand slam off Clayton Kershaw, I mean, that kind of maybe cost him a chance at the Cy Young, even though he's 17-4. I kind of look still at Scherzer as the favorite. Gio Gonzalez is in the mix. Zach Greinke's in the mix. Robbie Ray has got himself in the mix. And I wrote about it today. I think Steven Strasburg's in the mix. You look at his second half numbers. He's 5-1 in the second half with a – trying to get the numbers here. I had him open. 5-1 with a .72 ERA in his last 8 starts. 62 strikeouts, 11 walks in 50 innings. That's almost equivalent to his second half 2 years ago when he had 92 strikeouts to 8 walks over his last 10. And to me, you look at his first in fielding independent pitching. He's about 4th in WAR for pitchers. If he has another couple dominant starts, you have to put him at least in the conversation. I'm looking this up yesterday on Baseball Reference when I wrote that article. I want to see if you guys can name this in the chat room. Before coming into tonight, there were 7 of the top 10 pitchers in the National League in terms of WAR are from the Nationals and the Diamondbacks. Let's see if you can name the other 3. I guarantee you can get one of them. I don't think you'll get the other 2. But I'll leave that for food for thought. So if you guys are in the chat, feel free to send your answers. You don't win anything, but I think it's a lot of fun. So we'll see what you guys come up with. Let me look here. I love that Madsen challenged Freddie Freeman. I thought that was – Doolittle and Mads have done an excellent job in this bullpen, and they challenge people. They're not afraid to go after the top hitters in the lineup. So let me give you some updates. Mark Zuckerman from Masson tweeted that Dusty said he expects Daniel Murphy back in the lineup tomorrow, so that's a good sign. If you're feeling anything, just take the day off. So Murphy will be back. So you could take a sigh of relief on that. Barry Svrluga for the Washington Post says the Nats need to go 8-4 to top their 2012 version of the best Nats record. And it's possible. I mean, you look at the Mets, the Phillies, and the Pirates. Those are 3 bad teams. And Atlanta's mediocre to bad team as well. So they can really, if they want to go for that, they have an opportunity. I don't know if they'll get there. I think they'll come up short, but they have a good they have a good chance. That's all you can ask for. And they're a really good road team. 46 road wins this season out of their 91 wins. I think they're about 2 road wins away from matching their franchise high. So that means even if you lose the game at home, you have to still feel confident they can go to Wrigley Field and steal a game, or Miller Park, or wherever they go play the first round. Most likely Wrigley Field, but I'm not counting out Milwaukee just yet. They keep winning. All right, let's see if we got any questions in the chat room here. I'm getting Michael Fulmer. No, it's National League. National League. So I'm seeing Verlander Sale. It is the National League top 10. So the question again, Jay asked this. In the National League, 7 of the top 10 pitchers in WAR are Nationals and Diamondbacks. Can you name the other 3 non-Nats and D-backs pitchers? Again, it's National League pitchers only. Not American League. There's been a lot of American League answers. Robbie Ray's not it, Seth. Good guess, but it's not Robbie Ray. So the other big situation today, Bryce Harper took part in a simulated game in SunTrust Park. They called up Sterling Sharp and Brigham Hill from the Instructional League to throw to him. Ran the bases. From all signs, it looked really good. Dusty Baker told the media today, this is from Chelsea Janes, that, as I get to the tweet here real quick, that Dusty said Harper will now get a day or 2 off, scheduled for another sim game in New York. So we'll see how it all depends how he feels tomorrow. But a lot of the reports, and Bob Nightingale from USA Today had this, that Harper could be back next week. And they're optimistic that he could be back next week, which is a great sign. Mike Rizzo, this again from Chelsea, acknowledged Bryce Harper could come back before the end of the season, but not committing to anything. So they're treating it as a day-to-day. But if Harper feels fine after that sim game in New York, if he does do that sim game, he could be back for those final 7 games against the Phillies and the Pirates, or maybe not the last 7, maybe like the last 4 or 5. And that's good to get him some live at-bats before going up against a top pitcher in game 1 of the playoffs. You also had Brian Goodwin taking sprints today. He's probably not going to play in the NLDS, but good to see if the Nats move on to the NLCS, maybe Goodwin's available. He was sprinting in the outfield today, so that's a good sign. But you should not count Brian Goodwin on your NLDS rosters. All right, so let's see if you guys got this answer here. I got Judo's got one. DeGrom is one of them. Seeing who else has it. Jay had DeGrom too. You guys are skipping the obvious one. Judo says Bartolo. He may not be leading in WAR, but he's leading in being the sexiest fat man in baseball. He's pitching tomorrow, by the way, for the Twins. At least he's in a pennant race, so good for Bartolo Colon. Pitching against the Yankees, though, so I'm not wishing that he does well. No, Seth, not you. Yep, Jay's got it. Kershaw. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes to get the last one. I almost guarantee you're not going to get the last one without looking it up. So let's see if you guys can come up with the last one. But overall, I like the way the offense has performed. Again, I think they could do better with situational hitting. I mean, being 4 for 16, you want to see that production get a little bit better. They had so many opportunities tonight. They're going to have to at least capitalize on more of those chances 2 weeks from now. But at least they're getting in those situations, and that's a good sign. Their offense is starting to look a little bit better. Michael Taylor hit a double off the wall tonight, so the timing is slowly but surely getting there. And, of course, the middle of the lineup is hitting, and that's definitely a good sign. So, again, not really much to play for, but the Nats, I think, are in good shape. And hopefully Ender Inciarte is okay for Atlanta. By the way, John Morosi from Fox Sports LB Network reporting that Blue Jays and Marco Estrada are close to a contract extension. So a little contract news in late September. Let's see if anybody got it here. Yeah, Seth got it first before Jay. I don't know. I'm hoping you guys didn't look that up, but I was kind of surprised that Aaron Nola was 10th in WAR among National League pitchers. Good for him though. He's having a good year in a non-competitive year. But see, that's a tough one. You would think it's like Robbie Ray and Jimmy Nelson, Zach Davies, but it is Aaron Nola that is 10th. So figure that's a fun trivia question for the night. Let me see if Dusty said anything else before we move on to some scores around the league. Of course, there was a new record tonight. Alex Gordon hit the 5,694th home run of the season, which is the most in any season in baseball history. Ball's been flying out of the park this year. I don't mind it, but it gets to the point where when you have so many guys hitting 20 home runs, 20 home runs isn't that exciting anymore. You have to get Stanton level of home runs to really get to that certain point. So that was really a highlight of tonight's action. Let's go around the division. We'll go around the division and the National League scores before we do any American League scores. Let's start in Miami, where the Marlins beat the Mets 5-4 in 10 innings. It was really odd because the Marlins actually scored 3 runs off of their former teammate, A.J. Ramos, to tie it. And then JT Realmuto with the walk-off home run off Paul Sewald in the bottom of the 10th. Christian Yelich, a solo shot in the 4th, and Justin Bour, a solo shot in the 9th. Kyle Barraclough, now 6-2 out of the bullpen this year. He got the win. Sewald's 0-6 for the Mets. Jose Reyes, a solo shot to lead off the game in the 1st, and Travis d'Arnaud, a 2-run shot in the 6th. As for the Phillies, they beat the Dodgers 6-2 tonight, so LA's lost a couple games in a row. Speaking of Aaron Nola, he got the win. 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits. He struck out 8. Yu Darvish went 5 1/3, 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 7, and the Rhys Hoskins show continues. He had a 4 RBI night, including a bases clearing double. He had a single in the 6th and a bases clearing double in the 7th to give the Phillies the lead. So the Rhys Hoskins show continues, and a home run by Aaron Altair, his 18th of the season. Around the rest of the National League, Cubs won their 7th game in a row. They beat Tampa Bay 2-1. Chicago gave up just 1 hit in this game, and Kyle Schwarber a home run off of Chris Archer, his 28th of the season. So they remain 3.5 ahead of Milwaukee as the Brewers beat the Pirates 1-0. Good performance by Chase Anderson, 6 innings, 5 hits. He struck out 8. Domingo Santana with the lone RBI. So Milwaukee with a big 4-game series against the Cubs at home starting Thursday. They need a win to keep pace, and they do. They're hoping Colorado loses tonight, but that's not looking good, at least so far. Rockies up 2-0 on Johnny Cueto in the Giants in the top of the 3rd. Charlie Blackmon, a 2-run double. He's now got 34 doubles on the season. He's hitting .332, driven in 95 runs, and you have to look at him as an MVP candidate. He's definitely got a good opportunity. St. Louis, who's very slim chances. They're 4.5 behind the wild card coming in tonight, 6 back in the division. They won 8-7 in 10 innings over Cincinnati. Let's see. Yadier Molina had a home run, Paul DeJong a home run, and Dexter Fowler a home run in this ball game. Juan Nicasio got the win out of relief. Moving on to the American League, the Red Sox. Man, the Red Sox won all those extra inning games. They won another one tonight, 1-0 in 11 innings on a wild pitch by Brad Brock. Kevin Gausman threw 8 shutout innings, was dominant, but nothing to show for it. Drew Pomeranz, 6 1/3 shutout innings. So the Red Sox, for the moment, have a 3.5 game lead on the Yankees, who lead the Twins 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Jose Barrios had a rough night with his control issues, walked a lot of guys. Yankees made him pay for it. CC Sabathia got bunted a lot on early, but threw 6 strong innings. So the Twins, a game and a half ahead of the Angels in the wild card. Angels are tied, or actually not tied, they're scoreless with the Indians in the top of the 4th. So if the Angels win and the Twins lose, the Angels will be just a half game behind. Texas taking on Seattle. Mariners need to win these games to have any chance. So does Texas. Texas right now leads 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. And let's give some love also to Matt Olson out in Oakland. I mean, it's amazing how these rookies come up and they're just fantastic hitting the baseball. Matt Olson hit another home run tonight, his 23rd of the season. He's now got 15 home runs in a 21-game span. You got Sanchez last year, Judge this year, Hoskins this year. You got Matt Olson now. The guys just come up and they instantly contribute. It's so much fun to watch all these rookies or young players succeed so quickly at the big league level. Zimmerman, this is from Chelsea Janes, asked which of the 30 homer, 30 double, 100 RBIs he's most proud of. And Zim said games played. And that's the kind of teammate he is. All he cares about is being on the field. And that's really important to him. He's been really healthy this year because when the Nats signed Adam Lynn, I think everybody thought he was going to platoon or Zimmerman just in case he wasn't going to get in as many games. And he has played more, I think, than anybody thought he would this year. And that's the credit to him for keeping his body in shape and staying on the field and avoiding those injuries. So props to Ryan Zimmerman for staying healthy this year. 100 RBIs for the third time in his career. The Nats PR also tweeted via Stats MLB that Zimmerman's now the owner of the 7th 30-double, 30-home run season in Nats history, and he's done it twice. It's also the first 30-homer, 30-double, 100 RBI season since Adam LaRoche in 2012, and just the 4th in Nats history. So a lot of history from Ryan Zimmerman tonight, and he deserves every bit of recognition that he's getting for his season that he's having. Honestly, Seth, I did not know that was a question on MLB Central. I usually watch MLB Central, but I work Tuesday mornings. So I'll give you credit. I won't count that as looking up for sure. Jay says I 100% Googled it. Okay, at least admitting it, Jay. Jay says, what's going to happen to the Marlins team in the offseason? That's a really good question. We'll see what Derek Jeter and the Marlins decide to do there. I mean, they're looking at probably to bring in Gary Denbo, who's done a good job rebuilding the Yankees farm system, into a front office role. I wonder if they're going to trade Stanton because that's a big contract. The Marlins obviously are not a team with a lot of finances, but you have to think that they need to find elite pitching, and it's just not there. They're going to have to make a big trade with one of their top position players, whether it's a Stanton, whether it's a Yelich, whether it's an Ozuna, to get that elite pitching talent back. I mean, their bullpen that was thought to be a strength coming into the year was not good this year. They traded away Ramos. They traded away Phelps. So they're really in a situation. They're going to be the team to watch this offseason just because it's unclear what kind of direction they're going to take and what's going to be the future of Don Mattingly. It'll be interesting as well. Let's see what we got here. Guessing Robbie Ray, Greinke, Strauss, Gio, Max are top 10. Judo, you are right, but you're missing one. You're missing one, and I don't want to give it away, but you're missing it. You're missing one that's probably a tough one. But Judo also says how crazy it is that we may have 3 pitchers with 15 wins, a sub-3 ERAs. It reminds me of the Braves with Maddox and Smoltz, or the Yankees with Mussina, Roger, and Andy Pettit. And he says I'm an advocate of Mussina in the Hall of Fame, by the way. I wrote about Mike Mussina the other day when doing the long relief thing. And Mussina, I thought, was more getting those outs in the bullpen in the postseason was more valuable than really what he did as a starter, although he had good years in the AL East as a starter. I would put him in the Hall of Fame if I had to vote. All right, let me give the other answer. So, Judo, the other Nats D-backs pitcher that is in the top 10 that's not a starter is Archie Bradley. Archie Bradley is actually, I think, 8th in WAR in the National League. He's just had that good a season. So let's take a look at the pitching matchup for tomorrow. Drew's going to be with you tomorrow. So I'm sure you'll have some fun there with Drew. I can't seem to load the pitching matchup, but I can now. Here we go. It's a 7:35 Eastern first pitch and catching on Masson 2 in D.C., Fox Sports Southeast if you're in Atlanta. Gio Gonzalez takes the ball for the Nats. Gio 14-7 with a 2.68 against Lucas Sims for the Braves. Sims 2-5 with a 5.52. The start was supposed to go to Mike Fulton-Newich, but he got hurt in his last start against the Nats, so it goes to Lucas Sims. And one of the things you got to know about Sims, he's another one of those young starting pitchers for the Braves. They called him up to make his big league debut about a month ago. He's been pitching mainly in the bullpen over the last couple of weeks, so definitely I'm sure he's happy to be back in a starting rotation role. His last start was on August 28th against the Phillies, 6 1/3, 4 runs, 8 hits, struck out 7, walked 1. He did face the Nats out of the bullpen on September 13th and threw a scoreless inning. But Sims, as a starter, at least if you look at his numbers this year, 31 strikeouts in 44 innings, 15 walks over that span. He has given up 7 home runs, but none over his last 4 relief appearances. And as a starter, I thought he's done a nice job. He throws about 90 to 100 pitches. At most, he's given up 4 runs outside of a bad game against the Cubs on September 2nd. I guess that was a start, too. And he gave up 7 runs on 6 hits. But besides that, really limits the damage, but you can get a lot of hits against this guy. He's given up 6 hits or more in 5 out of his starts. So that's something to keep an eye on for Sims. As for Gio Gonzalez, rough outing against the Braves last time out, but hopefully he'll have the same bounce-back effect that Max Scherzer had. He goes for his 15th win. Last time against the Braves, 5 innings, 5 runs, 7 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. And this is an important start for him, too. He's already passed the 180 innings mark, but a chance to get to 200 innings. He's about 15 1/3 away from that point. He has not gone 200 innings in a season since 2011. He was at the A's. Remember, with the Nats in 2012, he was 2 outs shy of 200 innings, and you hate when that happens. You kind of just wish you just bring him in for 2 outs in a game just to get it for him. But Gio's only gone 5 innings in his last couple of starts, so you'd love to see him get back to throwing 6 innings again, get back to that consistency, and build up those last 2 starts for the postseason. I think now Steven Strasburg has kind of established himself as the Game 2 starter. Even though Gio's got the better home record, I think Strasburg's been that dominant. But we'll see if Baker decides to put a lefty in between Scherzer and Strasburg. I mean, Baker can go either way. Maybe we'll see how he adjusts his rotation over the last week of the season. So a big start for Gio tomorrow. If he wants to get that Game 2 outing, I think he's got to throw well in this game. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. A lot of talk here about Adam Dunn. Yeah, Adam Dunn, I mean, I wasn't around, at least for the Nats, with Adam Dunn, but a lot of the Aaron Judge comparisons went to Adam Dunn. But if you get a lot of strikeouts and still hit about 40 homers, I think people like you in baseball now because really everybody strikes out. It's not something that's frowned upon anymore. Yep, we talked about games at bats. That was the quote from Zuckerman and Chelsea, so thanks, Jay, for that. Let's take a look at what we had on the site today. We had 3 things on the site today. We had the storylines for Nats Braves. Since the Nats aren't really playing a lot of meaningful games, we didn't do 5. But I think there's about 3 or 4 there. So Ron gave you the update on that. Drew talked about Enny Romero and how the Nats need to use him. Enny Romero has only thrown about 4 games in September. And one of the things he's done, I think that's helped him, is he's used more of his off-speed compared to his fastball. And if he commands the off-speed pitches, that's going to help him with that 99, 100-mile-an-hour fastball because teams will chase it more. But Romero's spot pretty much up for grabs in the playoffs. I think Solis's spot is up for grabs. The Longman spot's up for grabs. Basically, anybody outside the big 3, Oliver Perez and Matt Albers, is kind of pitching for a playoff spot right now. But it's kind of like when you watch these games, it's great that the Nats can go from Scherzer to the big 3, and you kind of want that in the postseason. You kind of don't want to see these other relievers get a chance to make their case for the playoffs, and I'm sure that will come over the last 12 games. I mean, I wrote today I talked about it earlier, the dominance that Strasburg's been on, how he's pitching at another level compared to what he did 2 years ago. One stat to keep in mind when you read the piece, the second half, teams are hitting .89 against his changeup. Yep, you heard me right, .89. 2 years ago in the second half, .94 against his changeup. So when that pitch is working, he's one of the toughest guys to hit in the league. Also, tomorrow, Ron's going to have a piece on Bryce Harper and the update on him. And I'm going to have a piece on Jason Worth, why you should be patient with him. I understand people don't want to kick Jason Worth to the side and put him on the bench in the playoffs. But I'm going to tell you about how taking pitches is important, how he's trying to get his rhythm back. And I think he's going to prove a value in the playoffs because you might also look at Howie Kendrick. And I think having Kendrick on the bench is sort of a guy that can hit the ball to the right side, get a big RBI base hit, can do a couple of different things. I like Kendrick's versatility off the bench. Really with Worth, you're bringing him in for 1 at bat, and he kind of does the same thing Adam Lynn gives you. You don't want to have 2 guys on the bench that kind of do the same thing. So I would prefer Worth out in left field. Now, he's played a lot of right field. He's looked a little bit different in right field compared to left field. So we'll see maybe if Harper comes back next week, maybe Wirth goes back to left field for those final 4 or 5 games or so. Seth says, except for Sean Kelly, he's going to be cut. I wouldn't go that far, Seth, with being cut. I don't think he's making the playoff roster, but he's not cut. I think maybe they trade him in the offseason or he competes for a job next year, but I think the money is too much that they're not going to just outright cut Sean Kelly. And Seth also says, taking pitches is important because it gets Trey Turner steals. Absolutely. Ron and I talked about it on Sunday after the ESPN game when Buster Olney tweeted that a lot of people thought Bryce Harper should hit second. If you hit Harper second, you're basically taking the stolen base away from Trey Turner or you're taking the bat away from Bryce Harper. With Trey Turner on second, if Jason Wirth can hit the ball to the right side or work the count and then hit the ball there, you're moving Turner over to third and you're giving 2 opportunities for any combination of Harper, Murphy, Zimmerman, Rendon to get the runs home. I can't go to a playoff game and take Trey Turner's speed out of the lineup. Now, you can hit Kendrick second if you're in the mindset of not wanting Wirth to start. But really, if you're going to start Wirth, the only spot you have to hit him is second. If you hit him sixth, Ryan's there, he's 6th or 7th. I don't really know if that's going to be maybe 7th when everybody's healthy, but 6th when Harper is not in there is not a good spot because then Rendon's not going to get a lot of pitches to hit. And he loves to walk. He walks most of the time. But I would want Wirth to get in a spot where he's going to get pitches to hit. And the number 2 spot might be the best place for him when Harper comes back. Jay says Sean Kelly starts every postseason game. Who knows? Maybe Kelly might start one of those last games of the season when they go Johnny Holstaff with the entire bullpen. That would be interesting to say the least, Jay. We give an update. Endurance Ciarte from markbone.com. Endurance Ciarte doesn't have any structural damage in the thumb. Sounds like they might rest him tomorrow. So looks like Gio won't have to deal with Ciarte, which might be a good thing considering Ciarte is 11 for 22 against Gio in his career. But that's good news that it doesn't sound like it's structurally damaged and he's going to come back pretty quickly. And Jay was channeling the inner judo. See, everybody's trying to be judo. I love that. Sorry. So here's what we got. Again, we got 3 articles tomorrow. We got 3 articles today. We got 2 tomorrow. One of the things I liked, of course, tonight, Max Scherzer appears back. The bullpen's great again. Trey Turner breaks a stolen base record. Zimmerman 30 and 100. So overall, a good night for the Nats. The couple things you got to be concerned about, though, situational hitting, 4 for 16. It's got to be better. And Matt Wieters throwing out runners isn't very good. The Dodgers tried to take advantage Sunday, and the Braves did a pretty good job just taking advantage easily tonight. So we'll see if that's corrected over the last 12 games. So Drew's with you tomorrow. I'll be with you on Thursday. And then I think I'm with you on Friday, too. So with you for the start of the Mets series. And then Ron will be with you the rest of the weekend. So that's what we got lined up for the next couple of days. So give this video a like and subscribe here on the YouTube page. We're gonna have we have all of our post-game shows here. We have all of our interviews here. We're hoping that we're gonna have some cool interviews lined up for you for that week between the last game of the regular season and game 1 of the playoffs. We'll definitely do a preview show. So that should be a lot of fun. So anytime if you miss the show, don't worry. Go back and watch it archived. They're all there. You can follow us on Twitter at District on Deck, or follow me at Rickinator555. That's at RACK, letter I, Nader like a Terminator, and then 555. You can also like us on Facebook. Just search District on Deck. Hit the like button, and all of our articles and DoDcasts are on the screen. So feel free to give that a look on the Facebook page. So again, Gio against Sims tomorrow. I like the Nats in that matchup. But we'll see how they handle Lucas Sims, who they really haven't seen before outside of that one bullpen appearance last week. Definitely Seth with the weather update talks about watch out for Hurricane Maria. Does not look good out there in the Caribbean. So hopefully all those people are in a safe spot. That did not look good. Sad when all the hurricane season comes around. So as I see you guys still talking about Sean Kelly, I'm going to leave it open here for another minute. So you guys want to add in anything else, but Be cool if this Nats team can top the 2012 win total, but I think your more important thing is getting these guys into a rhythm, and then maybe you see some Victor Robles or you see some Adrian Sanchez and these younger players for those maybe that Pittsburgh series. You see him more than you do this week or the Mets series this weekend, where you probably see DeGrom and Matt Harvey, I think, will pitch. And it's kind of sad what Matt Harvey's going through right now. Went from the dark night, now he doesn't really have a lot of confidence anymore. And you hope I know that Nats fans out there aren't going to hope Matt Harvey is back to his great self again, but kind of wish Harvey just gets back to just being good. He's not a good pitcher anymore. All right, so Drew will be with you tomorrow. I'll be with you Thursday, so hope you guys enjoyed tonight. For all of us here, District on Deck, for Ron, for Drew, for Brian, for Sam, I'm District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great rest of your night, and Drew will see you back here tomorrow when Gio and the Nats take on Lucas Sims and the Braves.